And hi, everybody. Welcome to Proline, direct from Las Vegas, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America, probably the world. And I'm Dave Cokin, joined by Jim Feist. We're going to take a look at some college football bowl betting strategies, plus Week 15 of the NFL. First, Jim, if people subscribe to the channel, it's free and they get stuff for free as well.
Absolutely, Dave. Go to ProlineTV.com. Click on the subscribe button. You'll get notifications on new videos. Plus, you'll be sent a code for 7 days of my service absolutely free. That's ProlineTV.com.
All right, so we started this a few weeks ago and having a lot of fun with it. Let's take a look at our Proline poll question of the week. We post the poll on Monday morning each week, and this week around we did which NFL coach will be fired first. And within a couple hours after the poll was posted, the LA Rams fired head coach Jim Fisher. So that kind of screwed things up.
And he wasn't Jeff Fisher. He wasn't one of the first two favorites here.
No. And you offered your thoughts about that on Twitter and Facebook. It's been a hot topic all week. So we should probably change this week's poll question to which NFL coach will be fired next. And the choices were Gus Bradley,
40%
from the Jaguars, Rex Ryan from the Bills, Todd Bowles from the Jets, and Marvin Lewis from the Bengals. I think it's Bradley.
You know, Bradley's done a good job with this defense. I mean, he's a defensive coach to begin with, and I think over the last 5 or 6 games, their defense has played decently.
Yeah, but they don't win any games.
But they can't win. Now, I don't know if that's Bortles or the offensive coordinator or the combination thereof.
Bortles needs a rebuild. And this is coming from NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
They're the ones that are saying, not present NFL quarterbacks, obviously, but former NFL quarterbacks are saying that his mechanics are completely screwed up. They ought to know. I mean, former quarterbacks are going to know about stuff like that. Bad footwork, even to the extent where his motion is not what it's supposed to be. I don't know. I can't comment on that. I'm not an NFL quarterback.
The question I have with something like that is, in college and in high school when this guy played, everybody saw him, but yet they drafted him anyway. So if
there were questions about him coming out of college. But he has to be right now.
They drafted him and paid him a lot of money.
And he's just not improving. Anyway, Gus Bradley did win the poll. He received 40% of the votes, followed by Rex Ryan with 37%. And I think Rex Ryan is a candidate to get fired if the Bills don't make the playoffs, which it appears now that they will not.
And what happens to his brother Rob if he goes?
He'll be leaving as well.
So it's an entry.
I
they
would
both
think so.
go.
I would think so.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with those answers, definitely.
Thank everybody for participating in this week's poll question. And to remind you that we post a new one of these, a new Proline poll question, every Monday morning on our respective social media networks, and the results get announced right here on the show.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to send us a suggestion for a Proline question of the week or any questions about our selections or service packages, send them direct on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we'll get right back to you.
All right, so we got some bowl action to talk about, but before we do that...
Jive turkeys.
Yes, Jim Harbaugh, we were discussing this before the show started today as to how old this expression is, and I can't remember the last time I heard it. I think maybe it was when I was watching Sanford and Son or something like that. Jim Harbaugh, unhappy with some... with those who are suggesting that he might be interested in the Rams job. I don't think he is personally.
He guarantees he's not.
I didn't think he was anyway, because I think he would
Well, he's an alumni of
He
Michigan.
would want total control, and I don't think that's going to happen in L.A. But that's another subject, because he described those who were
it was
doing
interesting.
this
you know,
in interesting fashion.
And a lot of this is true. I mean, you want to out coach and you want to out recruit your competitors. So Michigan's a big school. They get a lot of talent. Harbaugh's a big name. He's going to get a lot of talent. So if you spread the rumor that he's going to leave, go to the NFL, leave that team, kids don't want to come out of school and go there if he's going to leave. So it's an unstable environment. So possibility that other coaches and other schools might spread a rumor and say, oh, he's leaving, so that they can get those kids to come to their school. Okay, it's competitors. You know, it's a competitive business. So he called them jive turkeys and liars. So,
well, I think liar is still acceptable. The jive turkey expression.
Jive turkey, you have to look up what it actually means, but since it comes back from the 60s or 70s or even 80s.
I think that was was it 70s or 80s?
I don't remember. I can't remember
It's
the
a
last
long
time
time
I
ago.
heard this. A jive turkey. What is a jive turkey? There's the question. I'd like you to all send in, what is a jive turkey? Where did it come from? Who originated this? And is Jim Harbaugh right? Or are they all liars?
For a fried turkey.
A fried turkey?
Yes, now we're talking. Gotta love that. All right, so let's look at some college football bowl action, and what the heck, let's talk about the Las Vegas Bowl, because it's right here, and it's a fascinating game between Houston and San Diego State. Obviously, San Diego State is kind of the home team here, even though they're not really, but they're going to have a very good representation. They've been here before. They're very familiar with it. Bobby Houck is an assistant with San Diego State, was the head coach at UNLV. Rocky Long has been doing a fine job over the years. And they're the second best team in this football game. But one thing we know about bowls, particularly the early bowls, is the better team doesn't always win because the focus and interest isn't there. And I think that could be the case for Houston this week. This isn't the bowl game they wanted to be in. They've had a lot of distraction factors since the end of the season with Tom Herman leaving for a better job, getting turned down for the Big 12, which is something Houston wanted. And Houston hasn't been the same team since they lost that first game. Now, they did rise up and play a great game against Louisville, so we know that when they're focused, they can still play very well. And if they're focused for this game, they're probably going to beat San Diego State, but I have my doubts as to whether they will be. And Las Vegas, teams that are not familiar with Las Vegas can, especially in a situation like this, much more likely to fall victim to the trappings of the city, if you will. I think San Diego State's got a good chance in this game.
Well, I do too. I mean, they do come from an inferior conference.
Oh, no question.
So that's one of the concerns that you have when you go conference against conference in bowl games. Who wants to be there? Who's prepared to be there? Do the kids want to win? Are they going to be distracted? Like for years, everybody's talking about when you go to Hawaii to play in a tournament or something out there, there's the bikini factor. You know, you're coming out of Michigan or Wisconsin or whatever, and now you're going over there and a lot of eye candy. So you have the same thing here in Vegas in many different ways. You have the gaming, you got the casinos, you got a lot of stuff going on here. So San Diego's more used to that. They're not going to be as affected by that. And I think they want to knock off a bigger school, a school that was actually rumored early on, especially after they beat Oklahoma, to possibly be in the Final Four.
They until it was the Navy game.
Yep.
And that's when it all kind of got away from it. And that's the thing. We saw that even with Tom Herman as the coach, they were unable to get focused for most of their games down the stretch. The one exception was the big game against Louisville, and they were sensational in that game. Absolutely tremendous. Killed Louisville.
That's right.
But then they went right back to being what they were previously.
So the team has a tendency to show up, not mentally, but physically they're there, but they're not mentally prepared.
And I'm just not sure that the Las Vegas Bowl is where they want to be.
I think San Diego State has a real good chance here.
I took the points in the game. Yep. I like the Aztecs in this contest. If you want to ask us any Vegas sports wagering questions, go to ProLineTV.com and drop us a line. It doesn't cost anything, obviously. And speaking of not costing anything, be sure to hit that subscribe button because that's going to get you 7 days of action free.
Plus, go to JimFeist.com for free stats, articles, videos, and my free fast facts and plays from the top handicappers in the nation.
All right, so when we come back, we'll take a look at Week 15 in the NFL. We're heading down the home stretch, and there's a pretty big NFC game between the Giants and the surprising Detroit Lions. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk some NFL. We'll get to the Giants and Lions in a moment. First, reflecting back on a couple of things from last week. Raiders finally lose a game. They had a chance to win this one. I think there could be something to that. And also, I don't know, they got a little hung up with the fade passes down deep in the Kansas City territory, and it just wasn't working.
Well, you know, their offense has been prolific all season long, but their defense has not been that strong. And you're playing up against a team, Kansas City, that they keep it under control for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex Smith is a much better quarterback than people give him credit for, but he's always under reps. And I'm not sure if that's him or the coaches, but he's always played that way. That's why he has like a 70% completion record, and et cetera, et cetera. He has a lot of wins. He's very good at that, but he doesn't spread the field a lot, but now I've seen some more spreading of the field, going deep a little bit more for him.
Yep, Chiefs are, look, if you look on paper, they're not the most talented team in the world, but Andy Reid gets the most out of them in the regular season. I do think the talent maybe shows up come playoff time because other teams are just have better rosters than the Chiefs do, but they're never out of it, that's for sure.
As far as Carr, I mean, what the effect of the finger?
Well, I don't know.
He had that. He was throwing high. He wasn't
his best game, that's for sure.
No, it was not. That's huge difference.
So that leads us into this discussion we're going to have in the Lions and Giants.
Another hand.
Because Matthew Stafford's got an injury.
Multiple injuries to this hand.
Yeah, and I don't exactly know how that's going to impact him. I mean, it sounds like don't they have to go shotgun here?
Yes, I think that's it. Or, but you'd have to look also and say, well, we got to run the ball more. We got to keep him out of take a little pressure off him. But they really don't have much of a running game.
I mean, Stafford is. I know he wasn't gonna win the thing, but Stafford's actually been an MVP candidate this year. He's played like an MVP. He's having a great season.
He's played very, very good.
Yeah.
And he played good the other day.
So
After he got hurt,
I know he did.
He led them back.
He's always been a really tough guy.
He is a tough guy.
I mean, a really tough guy. But I get uneasy with this because, the adrenaline's flowing when he gets hurt. Now it could be more of an impact now with the time off between last week and this week. I just don't have any confidence that Stafford's going to play like he has most of the season in this game, and he's going up against a pretty good defense. The flip side of it, though, and this is why I'm not going to take a side in this game. I do think there's a possible play in this game. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't like the Giants coming off an enormous game against the Dallas Cowboys. And, it is a potential letdown situation for them. That was the biggest game of the year for the Giants, and they pulled it out. They were down most of the game, finally got ahead and held it. I'm not sure I like teams in that situation. Jim, what I'm thinking here is that you got to wonder about Stafford's effectiveness. Not like the Giants' offense was sensational against Dallas. They only scored 10 points. I mean, this looks like it could be an under.
Well, David, you took the words right out of my mouth. The game opened 44. I thought it was ridiculous, dealing with the hand injury. And you have a pretty good defensive ball club in the Giants. This is where the turnaround for the Giants has been positive for this year. I can't say anything positive about their offense. I think Eli is playing very poorly this year.
Look at the stats. 27th in yards, 25th in points, and 31st in rushing. They don't run the ball. It's tough to be a good quarterback and play really well at quarterback when you have no running game and the other team doesn't respect your running game.
And everybody downplays the running game. They say, well,
not me.
Running is important. Even if the backs are not getting a lot of yards, if you can get the defense to respect the fact that the back can get yards, that gives the quarterback a little bit of better chance of completing passes and not getting rushed or hit. Yeah, you're 100% right, Dave. I think this is an under, but the game has already taken a big drop. We're looking at a 44 down to 41, and the under is favored at 41. So it's already taken a 3-point drop. I still like it under, but I took the 44 under.
I'm going to be really interested to see what the Giants' game plan is, though, here, because I think the Giants should come out throwing. Detroit's secondary is a little bit banged up. They had to put one of the quarterbacks on injured reserve, so they've got somebody that they brought in who's going to be playing now, and that hasn't been a strength to the Lions. Their pass defense is, I won't say mediocre, but it's not great. Let's put it that way.
I don't think this is a great spot for Detroit.
No.
Traveling, a non-division game on the road, even though the Giants are coming off a big game, they can't mess up either. I mean, they're
in good shape now with that win. And they're both 9-4 now. The Lions and the Cowboys.
Yes.
Well, all right.
Well, no. The Cowboys aren't 9-4.
I meant Detroit.
Detroit.
Excuse me,
yes,
Lions.
Yes.
Lions. It's just hard to say. Lions are 9-4. Viewers can get free plays from us right to their cell phone, and I'm looking at the wrong camera. It's very easy.
That's right. Just text GAME, G-A-M-E, to 25827. We'll send you a free play right to your cell phone right now. GAME, G-A-M-E, to 25827.
NFC, or NFL notes, I should say, coming up in a big showdown in the AFC between the Patriots and Broncos. That is next. Okay, before we look at the Broncos hosting the Patriots, how about this? John Cranton passes along some good stuff. NFL oddity. The Kansas City Chiefs are number 27 in the league in third down conversions, which you would think is somewhat important. And yet the Chiefs are having a terrific season. So it's one of those things where a stat that would seem very important apparently hasn't been for them.
Well, the stats for the Kansas City are not going to be impressive.
No.
I mean, other than the fact, bless you, turnovers, they get turnovers. They convert. I mean, what's a Tyree Hill? What he does on punt returns and kickoff returns is amazing. Returns for touchdowns and big yardage. This is the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to lead in any stats whatsoever except on the special team side, on the offensive side of the ball. You talk about third down conversions. The last 24 times Dallas Cowboys, who have the best record in football, has had a third down. You know how many times they've converted?
No.
Twice.
Two. That's not good.
Terrible.
But they also haven't played as well lately, and they
haven't covered in 4 weeks.
So here we go. We were going to talk about this at some point, so let's do it now. We'll talk a little bit about the Chiefs and Broncos in a minute. It's getting very interesting. And
Patriots and Broncos.
Patriots and Broncos. What did I say?
Chiefs.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant Patriots and Broncos. It was a Freudian slip or something. All right. If Prescott, and we're not suggesting that this is what's going to happen, but if Prescott has a bad game and Dallas loses to Tampa on Sunday night, we have a quarterback controversy in Dallas. Make no mistake about it. And I think there's a really good chance you see Romo on the field in the last 2 weeks. And it's a big if. I mean, if Prescott goes out there and has a good game this week, forget about it. But I think he hasn't been as sharp lately. He's played. Remember one thing that's important to note. He's played a lot of football. He played 4 exhibition games and now 13 regular season games. That's more than he ever played when he was a college football quarterback.
Yeah, he's basically
and you wonder if he's hitting
kid.
Maybe a little bit of a wall.
Yes, fatigue could be mental overload,
Yes.
pressure. This is a big stage, and now he's quarterbacking the team with the best record in football and the favorite to get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC.
And he hasn't been as good lately.
No, he hasn't. He's targeted Prescott.
Des Bryant.
Bryant, right.
Chiefs, Broncos. No.
You got me all screwed up here. We're on 2 teams, 2 quarters. I got first names and last names together. It's a bad day, one of those days. But anyway, Des Bryant, 14 targets, 2 connections in the last 2 games. Not good. They're not spreading the field. They're not going down and helping their offensive running game by spreading the ball around a little bit more. They either have to open up the playbook and get this kid to produce at that level, or they're going to have problems. And now they're facing Tampa. Let's talk a little bit about Tampa, because the possibility here, 5 straight victories and 5 straight covers. Jameis Winston, when he came out of college, I was looking at all the problems he was having in college. Is this guy mature enough to come into the NFL and be a leader, or is he going to be one of those guys that's going to struggle for a couple of years? Well, I'll tell you what, he's picked it up.
Yeah.
He's a leader on the team. He's a leader on the field. He's a motivator. They're playing great ball. Now, granted, they got a little lucky here and there, but we all have to get lucky at anything we do. It's a competitive league.
I
but
wish
their
I could get lucky more often.
Exactly.
Well,
their
you're talking
defense
about
is
football.
playing well.
Okay.
We'll talk about that off camera. You're talking about getting lucky? Is that what you're talking about?
You brought up the expression, and my mind goes in that direction.
That's where you went in a
yeah.
different direction. Okay, well, we're really off target. You can tell it's the holidays. Right, Dave?
Well, yeah. Listen, Tampa's defense is still the key, though.
They're playing
Winston's
well.
been serviceable, but they've got to have Doug Martin on the field to do anything offensively. I don't think the offense is worth it anything if he's not on the field. But they're winning football games. It's going to be fun this weekend. That's going to be a big game. So is this. It's always a big game when New England and Denver get together. But the Patriots, look, I mean, this is going to sound like the ultimate square comment. The books wish the squares would stay out of the books as far as the Patriots are concerned because they keep on coming in and they keep on making money on the team. I'm not going against this New England team. I know they're not quite as dangerous without Gronkowski in the field, but I mean the guy's 400 yards on a great defense. Baltimore's got a terrific defense. He made him look silly in this game, and on top of that, what would the score have been in this game if the Patriots special teams hadn't screwed up on a punt and a kickoff?
It would have been ugly.
They'd have killed him.
It would have been ugly. Yes. I mean, if you bet early with the Ravens, you could have covered or you could have tied. As it went during the week, most of the money came in on the Ravens until late.
Yep.
But it never got back up to 7 again. So the books got middled on the game.
Yep, they
Early
did.
bettors won. Late bettors won. Here's the problem. The Patriots are coming off that. It is a short week, and they're traveling across the country. It's
Into
not a great-
altitude.
Yes, at altitude. And the home team in this series is 7-0 ATS.
Oh, and look, the Broncos are going to. This is a big game for Denver. Forget the rivalry part of it, and I think this is a rivalry because
Denver's outside looking in right now.
they're in trouble. The Broncos are sitting at 8-5, and a loss here. There's a really good chance they get left out of the party.
Oh, I hate to say it this way, but if the best thing that happened to Denver last week was Tannehill getting hurt from Miami.
Well, it kind of was, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
because that's a team that
I don't think that's a massive downgrade. Now, if, for instance, if Stafford couldn't play for Detroit and they had to go to their backup, I think you're looking at a 7 or 8 point difference.
Well, Matt Moore can play.
Matt Moore, Tannehill he's all right. He's been better this year, but I only made my own adjustment 2 points from Tannehill to Moore. I don't even think it's a field goal. So I don't think it's a killer injury for Miami. I think they can win in spite of this injury. I didn't look at this and say, that's it for them.
Can they go to the Jets and win in New York?
Hell yeah, sure they can. I mean, the Jets, nice comeback last week against San Francisco, and I'm glad they did because they had the Jets. But that's San Francisco.
Yeah.
This is a bad football team, and Bryce Petty is not exactly going to set the world on fire. So as far as the New England-Denver game goes, I mean, the situation screams Broncos, but I'm not playing against the Patriots. So I'll probably just sit the game out.
I couldn't lay the points here, honestly. I know what you're saying. 3 point and 3.5 actually.
Yeah.
On the road at Denver.
And Von Miller's going to have a good game. And you just know Von Miller's going to have in fact, good game. When the chips are down, this guy's great.
Who needs the game? New England doesn't need this game.
Well,
they'd like to have it.
But you know what? They kind of do too. And this is the thing that I would take into consideration. I don't think Belichick wants a repeat of last late season when they blew the number 1 seed in the AFC. And I'm sure that most Patriots fans and most Patriots players and the coaching staff probably look back at that and say, probably should have played with a little more conviction to try and win those last couple of games and get the home field, because I think ultimately it did cost them. So I think the Patriots want, and they don't like Denver anyway, they want to go out there and win this game, and they want that number 1 seed.
I agree with that, at 100%. They had a physical game against Baltimore. It's a tough physical team. Short week, traveling 3,000 miles across country to go to a place where they really do not play well.
Nope.
And the home team here is very strong at home, coming off a loss, desperate to get back into the playoff picture. Everything, to me, screams Denver. Now, granted, we know the Patriots and the matchup between Brady and Simeon. I mean, who do you want? We all know who that is. But you're talking about a 3.5 point road favorite here at Denver, who happen to be the defending Super Bowl champs.
If this line gets bet up, I don't think it will, because I think the Sharps, if it's 3.5, they're probably going to end up taking Denver. They love home dogs anyway. But if this happened to go up to maybe 4, that's when I would get more interested in Denver. I want more than 3.
You might get a 3.5 where you could buy it to 4 if you wanted to. pay 120 to get the 4. It's a possibility.
Yeah, minus one. It might be minus 130 though.
That's a little steep.
And that's a little steep.
That's steep.
And those are things that you have to take into consideration. What seems way too many bettors make this mistake. Yeah, well, it's only 10 cents. So I'll go ahead and lay 130. That stuff adds up during the course of a season. It's called. This is why we talk about value betting all the time, and that's part of it, is getting the right price and having the discipline to leave it alone if you don't get the right price.
Absolutely. From a professional bettor's standpoint, that's absolutely the case. The problem is here, we're not talking about all professional bettors.
No.
As a matter of fact, 99% of the people out there that bet are doing it recreationally. I have a friend that lives in Denver. He is not going to bet against Denver. He's going to bet Denver, and he's going to buy the points to 4. That's what he's going to do, because he wants to bet on his team.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Here's something else that makes sense. Free plays every day on a recorded message. I mean, you call the number, and you listen to what's on the tape, and that's it. It's simple. 888-478-9222, the number to call.
And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jim Feist Sports. And feel free to send me a direct message with any question you might have about Vegas gaming.
And thanks for joining us. We will see you again next week with another edition of Proline.